Hey everyone, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Bill McCormick. He's the founder of DigiSales and the host of the All Selling is Social podcast, where he teaches entrepreneurs and sales pros how to use LinkedIn to grow their business. After building a successful company with his wife using digital sales strategies, Bill now helps others make LinkedIn a more human and more effective. How you doing today, Bill?
Hey, I'm great, Anthony. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
No, I was excited to have you on. I really enjoyed our first conversation. You're doing a lot of cool things, helping a lot of people. So there's a lot of folks out there that need to get to know you. But to start off, where are you calling in from? Where are you located?
I'm in a little town called Esperance, New York, which is about 25 miles west of Albany, which is the capital of New York. So we're right in the Schoharie Valley. Beautiful, beautiful area.
Okay. You been there for a while, or are you newer to the area?
So I've been in the capital region for the most part, most of my life, but we moved to Esperance 5 years ago. It'd be 6 years actually this coming June, November.
Okay. Well, you've been there long enough to have your haunts. If you have some friends coming into town that have never visited before, where are you going? What are you doing? And what's for dinner?
Yeah, so Esperance is really, really small, so we go nowhere except our house because there's really nothing here. But like I said, we're 25 miles west of the capital. There's plenty of stuff to do there. We're also in a very beautiful area. As we're recording this, it's the end of August, but in 6 weeks, this area is going to be just bursting with color because of the fall foliage. And so we're going to go leaf peeping. We're going to go to an apple orchard. We're going to pick apples. We're going to have apple cider donuts because you can't be in this area or visit this area without having apple cider donuts. They're like my kryptonite.
I think that's everybody's kryptonite. No, that sounds awesome. But is that dinner, or are you more of like the
Well,
go out for a restaurant or more home cook, or what do you guys typically do?
it definitely could be dinner, but it's probably not a good dinner. The great thing about being so close to the capital of New York is there's every kind of food you can imagine, from hole in the wall places that are just absolutely delicious. There's a diner really close to us called Gibby's that my wife and I absolutely love, all the way to upscale. Ruth Chris Steakhouse just opened a location here a few years ago, and my wife took me there for my birthday a few years ago. Just absolutely delicious. 500-degree steaks. They bring it out and you can hear it sizzling before it gets to your table. Right down to everybody's favorite Chick-fil-A. It used to be there was never Chick-fil-A up this far north, but they've recently put 3 restaurants. So, any kind of food you can find in the capital area of Albany.
Yeah, no, sounds great. Never been that far. I'll have to do it sometime. But what can you tell us about what you do?
So I'm a LinkedIn trainer, and I only say that because that's how people identify me. LinkedIn doesn't certify trainers. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get paid by them, but that's what I help people do. I help people understand really the authentic way to leverage LinkedIn, especially for sales professionals. How do you find people that are your ideal clients? How do you engage and interact with them in an authentic way that leads to a sales conversation? Not pitching, hitting them over the head with your product or service, but really engaging and having authentic conversations.
Well, what got you started here? I don't imagine you were in high school thinking, you know what I want to be doing when I'm older. What does that look like?
Yeah, because when I was in high school, there weren't even computers. So you can't really tell, but there's a lot of gray hair up here. So in 2000, my wife started working at a print and promotional products company as before we met. And it was just her and her boss. It was a two-person operation. He was the owner and the salesperson. She did all of the office work and all the business stuff. I used to say that he was the overpromiser and she was the over-deliverer. She was the one that made things happen. Well, 13 years later, he passed away, unfortunately. And while he wanted my wife and I to buy the company, it didn't work out. And we started our own business, our own company. And my wife was smart enough to figure out, you know what, I have to find people to connect with them because I don't have my email address anymore, right? One of the things we don't think about is when you leave a company, you leave behind all of that information, that email address and stuff. And so she didn't have, so she discovered that there was this place called LinkedIn where she could go on and find people and connect with them and start messaging them. She was fortunate enough to have done business in Bermuda, and we had never been there. With the new company, we wanted to do business there. It was a great place to go to do business. So she made all of her appointments there with LinkedIn, with LinkedIn's help. And so I was just like, okay, if I'm going to be the salesperson, I better figure out what this LinkedIn thing is. So I began to learn about it. I began to seek out people who were training others how to do it. And I learned, and I was able to grow our business. I was part-time when we first started, and within 18 months, I was able to walk away from my other job and be full-time in sales and really leveraging LinkedIn. LinkedIn is what helped us do that. And what happened was I was part of a number of networking groups, and they would ask me in one-to-ones, hey, so how are you getting clients? Well, I'm getting from LinkedIn. They're like, LinkedIn? What's that? Or LinkedIn, I don't know how to use that. Can you show me? And after about the second or third time of doing it for free, I'm like, I could charge people for this. And so that's what got me into the LinkedIn sales training space. And I've never really looked.
What do you think it is that you love most about what you're doing?
I love to see people's eyes light up when that light bulb goes off, where they see that LinkedIn isn't just whatever they think it is. Many people think LinkedIn's just for finding a job or just finding people to fill a position in their company. Other people think of it as just a marketing tool or any other social media platform. But when they see that it's really a networking site, when they see that they can actually see who knows who they want to know, right? That there can be these connections through other people, and their eyes light up and they go, oh, I get it now. And then to see them go on and be successful in the platform, and I see them, growing past even what I'm doing with it. That's really what I live for. And getting paid for it's a bonus, but what I love is to have people come back and say, hey, wow, you know what? This is even better than I thought it was.
What is the avatar of your average client, or what are some of the pain points that somebody might be going through that if they're dealing with X, Y, or Z, you're the person they should be talking
So I work with folks in the B2B space almost 99.9% of the time. And I work with basically two different groups. I work with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and small business owners that they are the business development department of their business, right? It's just them. They wear several other hats, and one of those hats is they have to sell their services. And then I also work with sales teams who the leader is, where do we find new leads? We constantly need new leads. We constantly need to be in front of prospects. And that's what both groups need. They need those prospects. And so that's what I kind of live in those areas. I work with individuals, of course, on a one-on-one basis, and that's typically virtually. And then with sales teams, I can work either virtually, but really the best thing with sales teams is in person. The in-person synergy that happens between me and a team, and actually a team as they talk about the many different things we discuss, there's nothing that beats that.
What about power partners? Who do you synergize really well with? Your ability to refer back and forth with, or other professionals you can collaborate with?
Yeah, other coaches that are in the same space, but maybe they're doing sales training, but they're just not proficient in the details of LinkedIn. I live on the platform, and I'm part of actually a whole group of other coaches, and we support each other that coach LinkedIn training. And so we're all around the world. And whenever something changes, we find out really, really fast. So those are great partners for me, as well as anyone that's in the sales space, anyone that's selling to other salespeople. So if you think of people who are working with CRMs, or people that are working with other software that helps develop leads, that's a good referral partner for me.
What advice would you give to a new or an aspiring entrepreneur?
Become part of a networking group. Find a networking group that's beyond just your local chamber. A networking group that meets on a pretty much either a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. When my wife and I started our business, we quickly became parts. Both of us became members of different BNI chapters, and the people that were there that wanted to help us, that we didn't know about starting, all the different insurances we needed, and the bookkeeping and all of that, we were able to find people that were willing to help us do those things. They weren't looking for anything in return. all they wanted to do was see us thrive and see us be successful. So I would say become part of a networking group.
Absolutely. No, you're starting something new. You might be a really good plumber, but are you a good businessman? It takes time to learn that. You're going to learn that from people that are already doing, that are willing to mentor and help you out. And then on top of that, just creating a group of people around you that are going to advocate for you and your business when you're not there is invaluable. You're crazy not to do
100%.
that. So
100%.
amazing. Awesome advice. Why you? What sets what you're doing apart from everybody else out there that might be doing something similar?
So I've done what I'm doing and I do it on a regular basis. I'm just not a LinkedIn trainer. I'm also building businesses. But I think the biggest thing is I'm willing to look at a company or look at a group or look at an individual and see and customize a training that helps them with their goals for LinkedIn. I'm not coming in with a predetermined, these are my 15 steps to being successful on LinkedIn, and you have to follow them to a T because that's what I've done. I recognize that there are some things that I might not recommend doing on LinkedIn, but you're doing them on LinkedIn and you're successful. And I tell people, do what works for you. My friend Aaron Hazakastas wrote a book called The 50% Rule. And the whole idea behind it is you take 50% of what the experts teach you and you take 50% of what you bring to the table. And if you put that together, that 100% is always going to win. And so I kind of specialize in finding out how you want to use LinkedIn, what's working for you, and creating a system that works that helps you to make that work better for you.
That's awesome. I know when it comes to LinkedIn and marketing and all this stuff, we could go down all the rabbit holes and spend just all the time talking about it. But in general, is there anything that I missed or I failed to ask that you wanted to add?
I would just say to folks, if you're if you're in B2B sales, LinkedIn is a place you need to be. A lot of folks don't realize that in 2016, Microsoft bought LinkedIn for over $26 billion, and they're making money with it. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to disappear. LinkedIn is going to be around, and there's literally a billion people there. It is a virtual networking room that's open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And if you're in B2B sales, the people that you want to meet are on the platform.
For those that have a LinkedIn but aren't using it or want to know more, what's the best way they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
So I've given you my Linktree link, and if you go there, connect with me on LinkedIn, and then also there's a link there to my 30-minute calendar. You can grab 30 minutes with me, no sales. I'm just going to come in, have you share your screen, and I'm going to talk to you about why you want to use LinkedIn and what are a few things you could do right after the call that will actually help you further the goal you have for using LinkedIn. So do that, connect with me on LinkedIn, and reach out and schedule a time for us to talk.
Perfect. If anybody would like to get a hold of Bill, do it. I'm going to put all that in the show notes. Have that conversation. You're going to be better off having it than not. If you're like most people out there, you have a LinkedIn, you haven't messed with it very much. It's not doing anything for you. It's just another place where you might remember to post once in a while. But making it work for you is huge. So absolutely reach out, have that conversation. He's the exact same in a one-to-one as he is here. So don't be shy. Other than that, if anybody would like to get a hold of me, you can visit me at ikag.me. You can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Bill. If you were somebody you know like to be interviewed, you can also apply on the website. But thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate everything you're doing. Most people I talk to aren't using LinkedIn very well, to just kind of put it bluntly. So you're doing a lot of awesome things. You're helping a lot of people. So really appreciate all that. Let's all go have an awesome day and grow our circles. All right.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure.